Hello everyone and welcome to the Kingdom of Frampangu. Today I got first place as locals with Mannadium, which is a combo deck, one of my favorite decks. This deck can very easily make or pick apart endboards, which is why it is very fun to play in my opinion. Let's get into the deck profile and let's start with the main deck. First off, I'm playing triple Mannadium Realm Heart. Now, Realm Heart has the ability to search a Mannadium card or special summon itself from hand by popping a Heart stat or a Mannadium monster. Now, this is often by itself not that powerful because it will easily get interrupted. Don't like those ideal combos like your 1-card, 2-card combos. This will usually be present there, because it is a very powerful card if it does not get interrupted, but it most likely will. So, because it will get usually interrupted, it is usually the most powerful when paired up with another hard stat, which is why I'm playing triple Scarecrow Rykart and triple Visa Samsara. Now these two can both access your Scarecrow engine, and what you would want to do basically is you summon this, make Lightheart, then Lightheart searches Rhyphobia, you get Rykart searches Arrival, you get Samsara back, and Roomheart pops Samsara. And that's how you go from the Scarecrow engine into your Mannadium engine. Now, also it's not that big of a deal, because, like, you summon your Rykart, if they ask the Rykart, you have Roomheart. If they Imperm Samsara, you just pop it with Roomheart. It's just that simple. And Roomheart alone cannot do that, which is why it's very good to play all of this. Also, not to mention, these are just good extenders overall. Next up, I'm playing 3 of Mannadium Meek, which I believe to be the best of the Mannadium balls. I'm playing a 40 card list, so I'm not playing Torrid, I only play the 3 Meek, but it's usually enough. Meek's level modulation effect guarantees that you can easily make monsters such as Crimson Dragon or Axel Synchro Stardust Dragon that can easily lead to Bestial Dissipator plays. Next I'm playing 2 Visa Starfrost. Now, Starfrost is sometimes a bit of a brick, why I wouldn't really want to play that 3. And also, you usually have access to some sort of visas. There's Visa Starfrost, Visa Samsara, and both the Scarecrow and Mannadium field spells can search visas. So you can just get access to visas mid-combo anyways, which is, I don't think there's even necessary to play 3 copies. Also, I sometimes even side out the second copy of it and play with only 1. But I think it's still good to have 2 in main deck. Next, I have triples Kashtira Fenrir. It's a very powerful card. It demands instant response, and it does just so much. It helps with breaking boards apart, especially. And if the opponent doesn't reply to this, this will get so much value. You're gonna attack over something and banish something, and yeah, that is very good. Also, by searching Scarecrow Kashtira, Fenrir works as kind of a starter too, since this can make your Scarecrow Lightheart, which leads you to your Scarecrow place. Now, also you can just Fenrir search Scarecrow Kashtira and, like, target Fenrir for Abscission or tribute it off with enemy controller or something like that, which is, I think, This package is not going anywhere in the near future. It's just very good. Next, for spells and traps. Let's start with 3 copies of Peaceful Planet Calarium, the Mannadium field spell. I've seen some cut this down to 2, but I don't really think I will cut this to 2. First of all, because I'm playing the board breaker version and not the hand trap version, I actually have more space for engine, so I don't really have to do compromises there. And second, I would rather search something like Reframing with Amritara. And third, this card really helps you play around cards such as Droll, well, not maybe Droll, but at least Nibiru and Shifter. And it's overall very good that you have a card that can help you play around those high impact hand traps, because they can just screw you over if you are not prepared for them. Next, one apposition. I think apposition is necessarily at least one. You can search it with Dreamheart, and it can help you play around things like Nibiru, or True Nibiru. If they just Nibiru, you can just pop the token, search Calarium, Calarium adds visas, and you get the Scarecrow engine, blah blah blah. But because these dice so hard to draw, I don't think it's really justified to play more in this format, even though it is a very powerful card. I think I got very lucky today. I got trolled maybe once today, if I recall correctly. But yeah, for the next spell, I run 1 Imaginings. It is searchable, it is quite strong. It helps you dig into your board breakers, dig into your engine, dig into your extenders, whatever you want to. And if you happen to open more than 1 meek, you can just Imaginings, draw 2, put one of the meeks back, which is very good because you just don't want to open more than 1 meek usually. And those cases when you want, yeah, they are very, very, very rare. Next up, 1 Reframing. This is a very powerful trap card. It's an Omni Negate, and also it can recycle your balls, so it gives you a grind game, which is very good in this deck. This deck kinda does lack in the grind game department, sadly. But it's a combo deck. What can you expect? Next up, for the Scarecrow spell traps. Starting off with 2 Phobia. I don't really like that this is necessary at 2. Like, yeah, it does give you your follow-up and a pop, which is very nice when breaking boards. But overall, when I play this at 2, I feel like I draw this way too often. Like, yeah, I would probably just cut this to 1 if I played the hand trap version. I don't know, I haven't really tested that. But it just seems pretty appealing to play at 1. Yeah, anyways, it's just a necessary part of the Scarecrow engine, and as I said, can help with breaking through boards. Now, then, 2 Scarecrow Arrival. This is a pretty good card to open too. It's not an absolute brick, and can really help as an extender, especially since it's hard hard once per turn. If you open 1, you can just Scarecrow right card, search the other, and yeah, you're pretty much good to go at that point. Next off, I'm playing 1 Rhoda to help with consistency, to get to the combo, to get to the extenders, yada yada yada. You know the drill. And 1 copy of Terraforming. I've seen people cut Terraforming so much, and I do get why. It does play into draw. But I'd argue that I want the 4th copy of Calarium for playing around Nibiru and playing around Shifter, as I said. Which is why I am playing Terraforming. Because you gotta respect those two hand traps too. Next up, into the non-engine. As I said, I'm playing the board breaker variant, which is why I'm playing 3 Forbidden Droplet. This is a very strong card, both going first and going second. You can just like opponent normal summon something, you can use this or whatever. If you go second, you can just droplet send your whole board. Actually, one of the favorite things to do with this deck is like droplet sending a planet. Like you basically go +1 if you do that. Since you usually get the planets for free and you get to search for them. Next, tree talent. Now, this didn't come up that much today, but it's still one of my favorite cards. It can help you to play through interruption, play through boards. You can, if you get like rolled, you can talent, look at their hand, and pick up something important from there. And overall, it's just one of my favorite cards. It's so powerful. And just looking at the opponent's hand and getting the security of knowing if they have hand traps, it's just very good, I think. Again, if I was playing hand traps, I would probably cut this down to like 2, but I like it at 3 in this build. Then triple enemy controller. This also works very well when going first, going second, doesn't really matter. It's a powerful card, you can just steal your opponent's monster. I actually played against Goblin Rider today, and I used this to take their Draco Future, which is very good because like you don't have to worry about things like Nibiru when you can just take your opponent's negate. Also for the last card, one Called by the Grave. As I said, this deck really does die to troll, and it's just overall very nice to have that protection from some nasty hand traps and maybe some other cards too. Okay, that is it for the 40 card main deck. Let's move to the extra deck. I'm playing one copy of Mannadium Trisukta. This helps you just make the Room Heart one card combo mostly. It doesn't have much else to it, but it's still good. It's mandatory, you gotta play it. One Visa's Amritara. Again, this is not one of my favorites, but you know, it's one of the Mannadium cards that you have to play. It can easily access any of your Visa spells, and so it can add like an extra layer of interruption or help you play through interruption. Also, the pop effect does come off quite handy every now and then. Next, Axel Synchro Stardust Dragon. You can make this pretty easily through like Meek or Samsara, and yeah, it gives you just easier level 10 access. For the level 10s, Baronne. Yeah, Baronne is just very strong generically. It can pop, it can negate. I don't see any reason for cutting this. It is one of the most powerful cards in this deck. Next, Dissipator. Now, this card is not as strong as Baronne offensively, but I could argue that this is maybe even better than Baronne, since this works as an extender, which can be very valuable. Next, one Cheng Ying. I don't think this is necessary. You can play something else, like Chaos Angel, Jameer Agerine, maybe even Prime Heart. But this is one of my favorites. You can use reframing during the opponent's turn to shuffle back like your Meeks and trigger Cheng Ying with that, which is very funny to do in my opinion. Next, I have one Crimson Dragon to just overall make more flexible lines to get to this pattern. Next up, I have 2 Vicious Astrolaud. This is very good as an extender, as just like an extra body if you need to get the extra damage in the grind game. I think it's pretty solid at 2. You could even maybe play at 3 if you had the space, but I think 2 is fine. Next up, 2 Scarecrow Lightheart. The search effect is not once per turn, which is why it's played at 2, I think, mostly. Also, the revival effect is pretty good, and overall, it's just a good card. Next up, 1 copy of Crush Ship. This can help you make those level 10 synchros, or just extend into an Appaloosa, or access code, or something if necessary. Next up, I had an SP Little Knight. Please do excuse the proxy. I borrowed the SP for today. But yeah, I normally play just the Nightmare Unicorn, which is fine, you know, but I think SP is a very versatile card, and it feels much better to play than what it seems. Next, Access Code Talker didn't come up once today, but I think it's a very handy option for breaking boards and getting to lethal, for example, through the barrier. And lastly, 1 Appaloosa. Now, after playing with SP, I don't think this is that necessary, but as long as I do not have an SP, I will be playing the Appaloosa. It just helps making endboard stronger overall. Next, for the side deck, I have 3 copies of Mind Control. And now with this side deck, I kinda wanted to just focus on generic removal. I was afraid of something like Tearlaments in my locals. It's quite hard to beat with the board breakers. So I thought something like this to steal their negate might be very powerful. It came up once today. I was playing against Sword Soul, and it was pretty good. This is one of my newest inclusions to the side deck, and I think it's definitely worth it. I was actually playing, what was I playing against? Yeah, Book of Eclipse, but like, I don't think it's that necessary. The Mind Control can pretty much do what the Eclipse does, but better. For example, against Kashtira, you use Mind Control, take their Fenrir, you search the Scarecrow Kashtira or your own Fenrir. Yeah, it's very good. And then Change of Heart is basically the 4th Mind Control. It just removes the restriction of not being able to attack. You know, not that bad. Next, 2 Lightning Storm and 1 Duster. I like having some mass spell trap removal if I happen to, for example, go against a trap deck. Yeah, I think this was a very good inclusion and kind of a no-brainer. Next up, 3 Cosmic Cyclone. This was surprisingly good today, I think. This, like many times, even came up going first, which is kind of surprising, but yeah, it can be good against some decks like Voiceless maybe, that they have to rely on a spell trap to get to their stuff. Next, Triple Evenly. You know, it's very powerful. You just play this, your opponent has to banish basically anything if they do not have an Omni Negate. It's just so strong and generic too. Like, this pretty much does something towards any deck out there. Sure, there are maybe some decks that can play around it, but at least it baits out in the gate, maybe. Next, Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. Now this was something like purely Raid Raptor. I don't think this came up once today. There was a Dynamorphia player that I played against, so this is pretty good in that matchup, though I did not need it actually. And lastly, one Abyss Dweller. This is against the before mentioned Elements matchup that I mentioned. Yeah, if you go first and get rolled, you make Dweller and get another turn to live, basically. Funny thing is that the Element player didn't even end up showing up with Elements. He played Flu Wanderees, which you kinda stinks, but yeah, at least there was no Elements. Okay, that is it for my Mannadium deck profile. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and drop your thoughts in the comment section.